arms towards the sun. You feel the warmth of the rays, and then you know you're alive, and you don't have to be afraid of anything, 'cause you know the truth, and the truth is love, yes it is. Wasn't what they said to you or anything that...
Welcome to the Bassline, everyone. Dr. Stella Immanuel is one of America's frontline doctors and one of the right docs of history. She had the courage to contradict the narrative when reality had been dumped on its head. She was attacked and slandered for successfully treating her patients, but has remained strong and vigilant. Joining us today on the Bassline is the incomparable Dr. Stella Immanuel. Welcome to the Bassline, Dr. Immanuel. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, the thrill is mine. I can't believe how excited I am for this interview, actually. Dr. Immanuel is just a living legend of medical freedom and a great personality and a wise lady. I heard her interview recently on the Vaccine Safety Research Foundation weekly program that airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and she was phenomenal as always. So it is truly my honor to have Dr. Stella Immanuel on the air with us today. Now, a couple of quick announcements before we get into this exciting conversation. I have a new Substack article. It's called Censorship du Jour. Please check it out. It's at my Substack. Just check out Jeremiah Hosea on Substack. And, of course, you can support this program by buying a chess lesson. You can go to jeremiahhosea.com, buy the theme song of this show for $1. I'd really appreciate it. But I have a big announcement and a special announcement because there's a new music series starting in Harlem. And the debut of this new music series is going to be on March 9th. That's a Sunday, March 9th at 3:30 p.m. at a really cool venue I want you guys to know about called Rock Mill Fitness. They have an incredible fitness system. Actually, I'm not sure the name. I don't want to mispronounce the name of those beautiful African stools. I had a few of them in my home growing up, but those nice round African stools are the basis of this incredible fitness system that occurs at Rock Mill Fitness. You can just take this stool and use it as a multi-purpose exercise device, basically. It's incredibly innovative what my friend Milton Washington has done with this fitness system. But in any case, on March 9th, 3:30 p.m. at Rock Mill, the address is 274 Lenox Avenue. The cost is only $10, and it's going to be a really happening new sound. I'll be playing electric bass with some really cool loops programmed, and I have an incredible mbira player, my good friend, former guest of the Bassline, Brother Kevin Nathaniel on mbira and African percussion, and my friend Debe on African percussion. So it's a new diasporic sound. The project is called African World Revolution, named after one of my favorite books of all time by Dr. John Henrik Clarke. And we encourage you to be there. It's going to be a really great time, great vibes, and I want to make this into a de facto medical freedom meetup. We didn't really discuss that with the venue, but of course they can't say you can't enter because you support medical freedom. There's nothing wrong with that. We just want medical freedom people to know about this event and know this is a good place to meet up with like minds. But all that being said, let's get right into this discussion. Now, I'm so sorry to ask you this question, first of all, Dr. Immanuel, because it's such a broad question and it's a pretty difficult question, it seems to me, which is the general question of what is SARS-2 and what is COVID, because there was so much confusing information that was circulated. I mean, we have the confusion of the so-called asymptomatic carrier, which is confusing in and of itself, but you're saying that this is a novel pathogen. We were told, I mean to say, it was a novel pathogen So how do I have an asymptomatic response to something that my body could have never possibly encountered before? We have the concept of this being a gain of function virus. We have the fact that so many people who died and were considered COVID deaths were people who were suffering from 3.8 on average additional comorbidities, and were not realistically COVID deaths. We have this huge range of symptoms where SARS means severe acute respiratory syndrome, but then someone will just say, I have an upset stomach, and that's how COVID affected me. I even heard someone say, I had soreness in my wrist when I got COVID. No respiratory symptoms at all. So from asymptomatic carrier to people who reportedly died of glass lung, what do you consider to be SARS and what do you consider to be COVID? What was that, if you could explain?
Like you say, that is a very complicated question. The first thing I will say is that we have not, independent scientists have not been able to isolate COVID. That is the one thing that will say that, people cannot say that this is what was actually isolated. The tests that were being done, the PCR tests, were actually bogus because the way the dilution, that means the amount of dilution they had to do to pick up the test, they could pick up COVID from anything. Or if you looked for it, you could find it in anything. They've had somebody that did a COVID test on a papaya and on an animal, and it was positive. So the PCR test did not make any sense, and that was what was used to terrify everyone. But I know for a certain that there was an illness. To some places, it looked like serum sickness. Serum sickness actually is something, it has symptoms like being exposed to radiation. We had that, but I know for a certain that people were sick. People had severe respiratory disease. And of course, COVID also presented as, gastrointestinal symptoms. Some people just had diarrhea. People had achiness in the joints, and so it was a variety of symptoms. And the beginning of COVID usually looks like flu symptoms, cough, runny nose. Sometimes it was very important. People had loss of smell, and when they had loss of smell, they didn't eat. So people got dehydrated. And so it was just a whole barrage of symptoms. So the first part of the disease was a viral illness, or looked like a viral illness. The second part of the disease was actually the system being overwhelmed by toxins, basically. So that is why the cytokine storm that came with the second part of the disease had a different set of symptoms. And most people that actually got sick with the disease and got that serious always ended up with what we call COVID lung symptoms, because there was already a multi-system disorder that ended up, really affecting different parts of their bodies. And till today, a lot of people that had the disease and survived it still have COVID lung symptoms, depending on what part of their system was affected. Basically, they told us that, the spike protein was what really caused the symptoms of the disease, and especially the more spike proteins, the variant you had, the sicker you got. So there were a lot of things that we were told, and it has not been independently isolated, not been independently confirmed, but that's what we were told. And of course, there were a lot of bogus things too that we were told. But I know for a certain that people got sick. I took care of a lot of very sick patients, and I know for a certain that hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin worked, because even people that were sick to a certain extent, we had very, very high success in treating patients. And in over 100 and something thousand patients that we treated, we had less than 20 deaths. And most of the people that died under us came in, they probably came in and died the next day. That means they were already too sick to actually be treated.
Right.
So, we also know that there was a gain of function studies that was being done in China that had been supported by Anthony Fauci. And in fact, the Senate had a hearing with that. So the SARS disease that came in, COVID, that really devastated the world and is still doing today, was something that was created in the lab. I say it all the time, that COVID was a Trojan horse for the mRNA vaccine, and the mRNA vaccine was a Trojan horse for transhumanism. So I think this was a bigger thing. This is a bigger thing because it's still going on. It's a bigger thing than just trying to get people sick and just trying to let people die.
Right.
It was a very serious thing for me in particular, who was in a position where I saw people that had more than 3.8 comorbidities, and we treated them and they got well. We treated 80-something-year-olds with diabetes. You know what I'm saying? If an 80-something-year-old had diabetes and high blood pressure, that was a death sentence for COVID. But we saw a lot of our patients survive despite all the comorbidities, asthma, high blood pressure, obesity, just name it, sickle cell. We had all kinds of patients, pregnant patients, that had all kinds of comorbidities, and we treated them and they did well. So COVID is completely treatable, can be completely prevented. But unfortunately for us, humanity was caged by a treatable disease and many were allowed to die. And it was heart-wrenching for me from the beginning. It's still heart-wrenching when people get sick from COVID till today.
Yeah, and it's such a shame that doctors such as yourself who were successfully treating patients were then attacked. Instead of the authorities saying, okay, what are you doing that's succeeding? Let's get this information out to everyone. No, they wanted to suppress successful treatments and attack the people who were administering them.
Yes, if that is to show you that COVID was a deliberate thing, because if you could treat the patients, you got attacked. Because if we could treat patients, if we could treat COVID, that means they will not be able to get, if there was any kind of successful treatment that was acknowledged, that meant they could not get their emergency use for the vaccine. Exactly. So that's why I'm saying that the whole COVID thing was really about getting an mRNA vaccine. And things, they did not succeed to the level that they wanted to. They are still, till today, they are still trying to bring up all kinds of things to inject people with mRNA. And right now they have a whole new bird flu thing scare that is coming around, and they have the vaccine ready too.
Yeah, unbelievable what's happened here. But I would like to jump to the rather broad discussion, another sort of broad question, but I would love to hear your opinion about vaccines in general, because when I started this program, as I've explained on air many times, and as the regular listeners would be familiar with my comments in terms of I was not an anti-vaxxer, so to speak, before all of this stuff started. I was just firmly against being mandated to take a product that was rushed to market about a mysterious disease that just suddenly appeared and they suddenly create a cure while they've never come up with a cure for the common cold or for cancer, despite all the pink ribbons and everything. So for them to quickly devise a cure for a novel disease and mandate it, I just found to be completely unacceptable. But as I've spoken to many doctors and continued to do research, which I still am continuing to do, I've come across many doctors who first of all said, we weren't really educated about vaccines in medical school. We were just kind of quickly told, these are vaccines, they're great, this is how you administer a vaccine, next. And a lot of those doctors have turned around and started to question vaccination as a practice. And then I've spoken to other doctors who were pretty staunch anti-vaxxers from the beginning who have said that vaccination is harmful. It's something that we shouldn't be doing to people. Where do you stand on the broad subject of vaccination? Is it ever necessary? What are your thoughts?
I'm a trained pediatrician before I started working in the emergency room. So I'd given a lot of vaccines when in my unenlightened days. I would sound like many of those doctors that you're talking about. When I started out, I was not an anti-vaxxer. I'm a trained pediatrician. I believed in vaccines. They told us that, vaccines were good for you and, they saved us, they stopped disease. And, of course, we started out, I've been practicing medicine for 34 years. So when we started out, they had very few vaccines. And they were, then all of a sudden, and over the time, they just had more and more and more and more vaccines, and we all just accepted it, just like we accepted a lot of things that the medical industrial complex told us. So this whole phenomenon with COVID and the vaccine and everything has made me question everything. I mean, everything. Would I say that I'm a total anti-vaxxer? I wouldn't say that. All I want is that if they're going to give us vaccines, there should be good science, number one. Number two, it should never be mandated. Number three, we need to take away the protection of vaccine companies to make sure that if they are going to inject something in your child, they should be able to be responsible if something bad happens. So I don't, and then you will not even believe it. They don't even do placebo trials for vaccines. So they don't. So the science of getting vaccines and putting it out in the market doesn't. It's not properly done. So I would not say that I would never accept vaccines, but for now, when it comes to vaccines, I'm a no-no. And the other thing is, I have had many patients who don't take vaccines. And I know many children that grew up just well that don't take vaccines, never took vaccines, and they did just well. So the greatest thing, the greatest thing that stopped many of the childhood diseases has been really hand washing, good hygiene, good sewer, good water. Those are some of the greatest things that stop a lot of the childhood diseases that they said was vaccines that stopped them. So I would not, right now, I would not take vaccines. I don't give them for now, until further notice, until we get better science on it, until there's more transparency. And of course, I really, really would not want vaccines to be mandated. They should take away vaccine mandates on anything, on childhood vaccines, in the military, in the government. Everything needs to be. People should not be forced to inject anything on their bodies if they don't want to, or inject anything in their children that they don't want to. So part of this whole SARS-CoV thing has actually opened the eyes of a lot of people. I tell everyone right now, question everything. Question everything that you hear on TV, you see in the papers, question everything. And it is the questioning that we're doing now that is beginning to pull out things, with the wool off many people's eyes, and we're beginning to see things that we couldn't even believe that it was possible. You know, it's kind of hard for humanity to wake up and think that, wow, my government wants to kill me, or that people that I thought I should trusted with my life, trusted for my family, their agenda is actually to destroy me. And that is a very, it's a thought process that just totally baffles a lot of human beings, and a lot of people don't even want to hear it. So they stick their head in the sand. Nah, it's not happening. A lot of people have forgotten what we went through with COVID, and they're just trying to believe that everything is gone. And I would love to tell people, please do not forget, because those that are in charge, those that started that evil, are still around and are still planning evil against humanity. And being vigilant, being informed, and questioning everything is the way many people are going to survive.
Absolutely. You made a lot of important points there, Dr. Stella, and I couldn't agree with you more. Now is not the time to get tired in this struggle. Consider everything that's happened up until now just a nice little warm-up, because the people who unloaded this on us, the people who unleashed this upon the earth, they're not going to take their ball and go home, unfortunately. They are very driven in this mRNA agenda. I would love to move over to the question. Oh, before I move to the third question, I would like to mention, and I'm going to mention this again later, but please write this down, drstellamd.com. drstellamd.com. Dr. Stella Immanuel has a phenomenal website, and you can actually use a promo code just for listeners of this show, Hosea, JHOSEA is your promo code, and you will get a substantial discount off of all the fine products that she offers at her website. So please keep that handy. It's a great resource. There are a lot of doctors who are providing additional health support in various forms, and sort of a new network of conscientious doctors is emerging, and it's really up to us as concerned citizens to support the growth of these alternative systems, because we see how the system has completely failed us. So please write that resource down, drstellamd.com, and you can use the promo code Hosea, JHOSEA, and yeah, that's a great resource. So I want to mention that, and I'll mention that again. But I want to ask you, Dr. Stella, what could you tell us about COVID in Africa? I'll tell you, Dr. Stella, I've been to Africa. I need to think here. I've been to South Africa 3 times. I went to Kenya when I was 3. And I say, I'm indebted to my parents because they went on this incredible adventure with me before my little brother was born. We went on a trip to Kenya, and that trip just captivated my imagination for my entire life. When I came back and I started going to school, I was telling my teachers in the class that I saw lions and I saw baboons and I saw elephants in Africa. And they said to my mom, "Oh, your son has quite an imagination." And she said, no, he saw all of this past summer before he attended school. So going to Africa was an incredible experience. When I was 3 years old, then I went to Tanzania to help build a library when I was 15 years old. And the last time I was in South Africa, I was actually playing bass for the legendary Gloria Gaynor. So I love Africa. I want to get back to the continent. I've been to East Africa and South Africa. I can't wait to go to West Africa and North Africa. But all that being said, I remember early on, Dr. Immanuel, that they said Africa was going to be ravaged by COVID. They said, oh my God, this might be the end of Africa. I mean, they were so extreme in the fear mongering as it pertains to Africa, where we know there's poverty, there's lack of a healthcare infrastructure. Yet, from what I heard, Africa had 1% of the mortality that was experienced by the United States and Western Europe. So what happened there? What can you tell us about COVID in Africa and why Africa was not ravaged by this novel pathogen?
Yeah, it was Bill Gates and his wife that said Africans would drop like flies, But the issue there is where sub-Saharan Africa, a good bit of the continent is in the tropics, and a good bit of the continent is malaria endemic. All the way to Kenya, Uganda, or most of them are malaria endemic. And this is what one of the things that I try to tell a lot of people, and scientists were like, scientists are baffled that COVID does not affect Africa. I was like, there's no need for you to be baffled because the reason why COVID did not affect Africa the way it was supposed to was because it's malaria endemic, and malaria medicines are over the counter. So if you got achy fever, runny nose, you went to this pharmacy and you bought chloroquine or camoquine or daraprim or any of those, any of those malaria medicines that usually will have some form of quinone in it and probably some other things. So people just went over the counter and bought it, and they took it and they felt better. And of course, the other thing is that people use a lot of medicinal herbs. They're like, moringa, lemongrass. They will boil them and drink it and stuff. But malaria medicines being over the counter was what really kept Africans healthy. Number two is a lot of African households and a lot of African villages are outdoor. So there was not much of the confinement we had in America. When COVID left Wuhan, China in earlier 2020 and seeded the whole world, because if I want people to remember, COVID started in Wuhan, China. China locked down people from Wuhan going to anywhere else in China, but they were allowed to leave Wuhan and go to the rest of the world. So they carried COVID all over the world. When COVID seeded America, it seeded Nigeria at the same time. But when people left Wuhan, China, and they were going to Nigeria or to Africa or to Cameroon or wherever, they were required to take anti-malarials, and those anti-malarials knocked COVID out of their system, so they could not really take it to Africa. When COVID came to Africa is when Nigerians or Africans left Africa, went to visit Europe, and brought the COVID back. You know something? So it was actually how COVID really got seeded back into Africa was from Europe, Italy, and stuff like that. And when people had COVID, they took anti-malarials because they thought they were treating malaria. and they got better. That is why people did not really get sick like that. I tell people all the time, you cannot social distance in the slums of Ajegunle or Lagos or Douala. You can't social distance in those places. And people did not get sick. Because people did not get sick, they did not really pay attention to the vaccine like that. So till today, they are still trying to figure out how they can get mRNA vaccine injected in Africans. You know what I'm saying? Most of the deaths that came from COVID in Africa came from South Africa. And there were two reasons. South Africa does not have malaria endemic because it's in the temperate region. Number two, anti-malarials are not over-the-counter. They are prescriptions. And the government of South Africa, like any other country, stopped doctors from prescribing it. So most of the deaths that happened from COVID happened in South Africa. More than 50% of the deaths that happen in all of Africa happen in South Africa. So this is just where we were at that time. And I'm thankful because they really thought that Africa was going to come tumbling down. But unfortunately for them, it could not. That did not happen. That was part of the reasons why scientists could stop and say, wow, maybe chloroquine works, maybe hydroxychloroquine works. But no, they didn't want to hear it. They just said, well, we don't know.
Wow, that's quite a bit of important information you shared with us. And more needs to be revealed in terms of that bit of history, because I was just amazed as I looked at this global ticker. They had this global ticker with every flag of every nation. There was a version of this presented by an organization called Roy Lab Stats, which is apparently funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They had a similar, almost identical ticker presented by Johns Hopkins University, and it was showing every country in the world, number of COVID cases, number of people recovered, number of deaths. And I was looking, and eventually it went from 1 year to now 2 years into this pandemic, quote unquote, that we have entire nations with millions of people in the nation, thousands and thousands of cases reported, but still single digit, double digit, or maybe triple digit death out of millions and millions of people. So it really was a very curious thing. I think there still needs to be work done in terms of looking at the global map and saying, well, why did the virus spread and not spread in this manner? I would like to ask you a general question again, sorry, but so many broad questions, but important questions, I think, in terms of, in your opinion, what should be the focus of the medical freedom movement at this time and the rank and file medical freedom activists? And I mean specifically people who are not doctors such as yourself, who are not scientists, who are not lawyers, quote unquote, ordinary people who have jobs in other walks of life but do not want to be experimented on, are aware that something very bad has happened and they're actively resisting. What should be the focus of those efforts, in your opinion?
The first thing I would tell people is to question everything. Question everything. The second thing I would tell people to do is, when it comes to vaccines, put a huge question mark and don't touch them till they give us better science, or they tell us, they give us better science and they are transparent. So, but when it comes to the mRNA vaccine, it's a no-no because it's not a true vaccine, and the whole issue is really about gene therapy and killing people. And it's crazy to say that, but it's really about killing people. You know, I'm also a minister of the gospel, read the Bible, very, very grounded in scripture. And if you read in the Bible, it's really a time, you read Revelation, like Revelation chapter 6, it starts with seals being open. And the first seal that was open, the devil was given a crown and a poisonous dart, or a crown, and they call it a crown and a bow in some translations, but it's actually supposed to be a crown and a poisonous dart. What is a crown? Corona means crown. And what was a poisonous dart? Probably the vaccine. And the whole job of that was to kill people and send them to hell so that they don't have time to repent and give their life to Jesus before the end runs through. So the devil wants people dead, and the devil has packaged himself as science and technology. So the medical freedom movement right now, people need to wake up and realize we are not just in a physical medical battle, we're also in a spiritual battle, and we need to fight it as such. Something really evil and diabolical is happening to humanity, and we have to fight it at the different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way for you to fight this battle and stand is to be prepared. We have to fight on the physical level. We have to fight on the spiritual level. We have to fight on the medical level. We have to fight on the information level. And people need to look at it like a multifaceted battle. You know, there are people that are just sticking to one direction or the other.
Mm-hmm.
There are those that say that, oh, yeah, we just need to fight this with God and forget science. They don't want to take medicine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That is just as silly because we are being attacked in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
What we have done, like if you go to drstellamd.com, drstellamd.com, what we have done is provide care for people medically, spiritually, and also give advice to people how to be prepared. Our food supply is being attacked. Right now, if you go to the store and try to buy eggs, you cannot even buy more than one crate of eggs, and the prices are are sky high.
Mm-hmm.
They want to call all our chicken. Millions and millions of chicken have been killed with the whole bird flu thing,
Mm-hmm.
and Moderna was given 590 million to produce the bird flu vaccine mRNA, which is ready. You know something? So what they are trying to affect our food supply, make artificial famine, and then, you know, feed us lab-grown meat and some kind of craziness. So they are affecting the air. You know, you see chemtrails and all kinds of fogs. You know, some of the stuff they are calling climate change
Mm-hmm.
is actually because of cloud seeding and some of these chemicals that they are blowing into the air. And this is not conspiracy theory, because Bill Gates himself said he's going to blow chemicals in the air to try to block the sun. I don't know what's wrong with that man. I call him the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And people should really be, you know. So with all this stuff that is happening, we're being affected in our health. We're being affected mentally. People are emotionally affected. But most importantly, people are being spiritually affected. So I would tell people, what do the medical freedom movement cannot just be plain medical freedom without affecting all the facets of our lives. So we need to look at what's happening on the spiritual level. You need to look at what the Bible is saying of this time. Like if you read in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 to 18, it said there's going to come a time you're not going to be able to buy or sell without having a mark on your forehead or in your hand. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it right now, everything right now is priming for the beast system. Yeah. If you pull up your computer right now and just Google digital ID, all nations, 2025 was the deadline for all nations to be able to have digital IDs. And all nations right now, just Google it, you see it. Any nation, they will show you the level at which they are with their digital ID. They want to control and monitor all of humanity. There was this crazy Jewish guy called Yuval Noah.
Yeah,
Israeli
maniac.
Said, Yuval Noah said, COVID was a time when humanity accepted surveillance to go under your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Klaus Schwab says that, you know, in this fourth industrial revolution, it's not what you do that will change. It is what, if it's you, if you take genetic editing. So these people are eugenists. These people are about, you know, really changing the human genome. The CEO of Moderna, Isaac, said this, that COVID vaccine was like, hacking the software of life and introducing a code. Mm-hmm. So they are saying it. People that say that I don't believe in God, I don't believe in the devil, listen to what these demons are saying. They believe in the devil. So even if you think that you don't believe what they are saying, they believe what they are saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they are treating humanity and doing everything from the belief system that they have. It is not from science, it's from a belief system. They believe that they are elites, and they believe that they can control the world and tell you and I what to do. They believe that you and I are useless feeders, mm-hmm. and they believe that the population of the world is too much, the resources are too little, they need to kill off some people. So they have this diabolical belief system, which is a religion. So we cannot just sit back and say it's about science. I believe that the devil has packaged himself as science and technology. And I would like people to remember, because sometimes we tend to forget. Remember, a lot of the things that happened during COVID was not science. Think about this. the mask was not science, because those face diapers people put on their faces cannot filter COVID.
Right.
Putting those face diapers to filter COVID, it's like putting on a chain link fence to filter a mosquito. It does not make sense.
Yeah.
6 feet social distancing, that was an arbitrary thing that came out of Anthony Fauci's, magical hat. It didn't have anything to do with science. The fact that you could go to the hospital when you were sick and they did not do anything. As a medical doctor, part of our job is to alleviate pain. Part of our job is to make patients comfortable. Most of the things we do, we don't treat disease most of the time. What we do is that we take care of the patient's symptoms while the patient's body fights this disease. Even the antibiotics that we give people, it kills part of the disease, reduces the symptoms so that the patient's immunity can fight back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So people went to the hospital and they told them, go home and come back when you're half dead. Come back when you can't breathe, and they gave them nothing. That was not science. Telling people that if you got COVID, you should still get a vaccine. That's disregarding natural immunity, disregarding the immunity you get when you catch a disease. That was not science. In every other time, if you had the flu, you were not required to take the flu shot. People were forced to take the COVID shot even though they had COVID in that season.
Right.
People were forced to take COVID shots while they were sick. We all knew growing up that if your child had a fever or a cold, they postponed immunization till the child was better. Remember?
Right.
But during COVID, they forced people to take the COVID vaccine. When they were sick, running fever. When they were sick in the hospital, they were still trying to push a vaccine. That was not science. I said people should remember 2 weeks lockdown to flatten the curve. That became forever lockdown.
Right.
You will not believe it. 2 weeks lockdown to flatten the curve. You know the excuse they gave us at that time? That they wanted to flatten the curve so that hospitals are not overwhelmed. It had nothing to do with the overall disease. It just had something to say, well, if we don't lock down right now and slow the progress of the disease, hospitals will be overwhelmed and more people would die because of the overwhelming of the hospitals. Just go online. You would find all kinds of choreographic nurses were doing all kinds of choreography and dancing in the hospitals, and because hospitals were not overwhelmed, many hospitals around the country were empty. So nurses went to the hospital and they did, cute little dances and posted online for us to watch.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then while people stayed home and died, people died from other diseases because they suspended surgeries, they suspended treating all other diseases, waiting for COVID patients that never showed up.
Right.
COVID went in waves. Like, for example, it hit New York, and it was peak in New York, and then boom, it disappeared.
Yep.
That does not even make sense. And then COVID will hit. It went in waves. It will come to a place, and people will just die. People will get sick, and boom, it will just disappear, and then move to the next. That was not even science. So it looked as if it was kind of like almost like some kind of serum sickness from radiation and stuff. So there's a lot that happened in COVID that did not make sense. But I want people to remember families, old people sitting in nursing homes and locked down and having to talk to their children through glass windows and not able to see their parents. Some of them died crying for their family members and they never saw them. Remember being sent home or sending sick COVID patients to nursing homes to practically kill a lot of old people. Remember little children, 2-year-olds, being forced to wear masks in daycare centers while they are pulling it off their faces and crying, and they are forcing these children to put a mask on their face. Remember 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds going to school. Every day they were swiping them, and if they were positive for COVID, they were sent back home. The children were terrified. They didn't know whether they were going to die. They didn't know what had happened to them. Just remember the evil that was done to our children. There's a whole generation of children that are still fearful from what happened in COVID. Small businesses getting destroyed for a disease that was treatable. Humanity, remember, do not forget. Because if we forget what these people did, we are very much going to fall again for something else that they're about to do to us. So that is the thing I'll say, remember. Number 2, people need to be prepared. We talk a lot about preparation. for example, I tell people every time, everyone needs to have hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in your medicine cabinet. Don't wait till you get sick. Till today, many pharmacies will not fill hydroxychloroquine. Till today, many doctors will not prescribe it. We established, after 2020, we established a telehealth service where we're able to give hydroxychloroquine in all 50 states. And today, if you go to my website, drstellamd.com, drstellamd.com, use promo code JHosea, and you will get a discount. Make an appointment, a telemedicine appointment right now in all 50 states. Get hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin in your medicine cabinet right now. There are studies that have shown that bird flu can be treated with hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. Most of these viruses that they are trying to push on us, they are RNA viruses. That means that they are sensitive to zinc, they are sensitive to hydroxychloroquine, they are sensitive to ivermectin. These two medications are powerful antivirals that have been used for generations. They are safe and effective. Get it in your medicine cabinet right now. When we were treating COVID in 2021 during the they call it the Delta variant, we had thousands of patients at all times T. There are many people that did not make it because they could not reach us because we were so overwhelmed. Till today, there are still very few doctors that will gladly treat COVID. So we established right now what we call our premium services, where we give we have our patients that sign up with us with premium services. They get their vitamins monthly, but they also get free treatment they get free consultation if they get sick, if they need refills, if they need, nutrition counseling and all that stuff, they get free consultation on that. So we want people to sign up for our premium services so that way we know that you are our patient. We know that your health is in our hands. We know that if there's any pandemic, we are the ones to help you. So that is one. So be medically free. Get hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in your medicine cabinet right now. Don't wait till you get sick. Get it right now. The second thing that we tell people to do is build your immunity against these viruses. Like I said, most of these viruses, they are sensitive to zinc. Zinc cannot enter the cell. The zinc you eat in your food daily has a problem entering the cell. So you need a zinc transport system like quercetin, elderberry, and even hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin works the same way. We have different supplements that we have produced that have this quercetin and zinc transport systems. Covivites, Covilite, Covita spray. We have gummies for children. And we tell people, take this daily, build your immunity, cover yourself from all these viruses that are getting thrown around. So that way you are safe. And because of that, a lot of our patients, we've had hundreds of thousands of patients that are taking our supplements and they don't get sick. I've not gotten sick in all 5 years that I've been doing this because, number one, I take the vitamins. Number two, I take weekly hydroxychloroquine. We used to call it Sunday medicine. So, back home where we took it for anti-malaria. So, so I have hundreds of thousands of patients that are on hydroxychloroquine weekly. Some are on ivermectin weekly. During the summer when there's nothing going on, maybe you can just take your vitamins. But during the winter with all this, right now with all kinds of viruses going on, I will advise you to take the Sunday medicine. That means weekly. Some people do Monday, but I take hydroxychloroquine weekly. Some people take ivermectin weekly. And that is a good thing for you to do right now that COVID is endemic. Many other viruses are coming. So if you do that, you start preparing yourself. Even if you don't take the medicines weekly, get it and keep it in your medicine cabinet. Take your vitamins. At the sign of the first cold or first sniffling, you can take your medicine. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're going out and you know that you're going to be hanging out with a lot of people, we get a lot of people get sick during holidays because they go out, they hang out with family members, they come back and they're sick. So we tell people, do this for your family. Get them ready. So if you go on our website, we have like the pandemic pack that has if you buy it, you can have it for both your children. You have something for your family. You have something from different people. So make sure that your families are taking these supplements with quercetin, with elderberry. We have them on our website. Get them, take them on a daily basis. Stay safe. Don't wait till something happens. This RNA viruses, bird flu, Zika, COVID, flu, RSV, just name it. Most of these viruses, if you take this vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin, or you take our COVID light or whatever, you take it daily, you will not get sick because your immunity, your system will be built to resist these viruses. It is important that while we fight, we keep our bodies healthy because we are being attacked in our bodies. We need to fight on the information side. For example, if you pick up an interview like this, share this information with as many people as possible. Make sure that people get the information that they need. We need to fight on the spiritual side. And I tell people the safest place to be right now is in Christ. Give your life to Jesus. This end-time battle is between the devil and Jesus. And no matter what you do, at the end of the day, the safest place to be is in Christ. Because we don't know what is coming. We don't have an idea, but I know for a certain that if I'm in Christ, even if they kill me, I get to go home and all is still well. Learn to fight this battle on a mental level. When you are prepared physically, when you are prepared spiritually, then you're not going to be terrified. You're not going to be scared because whether they kill you, you still win. When they come against you with different things, you have the information, you have the medicine and whatever to keep your family safe. Be prepared physically. Stock up food, stock up water. Be like a prepper. Charcoal grill, flashlights, water filtration system. Make sure that if something happens and they lock us down, you cannot come out of your house or something. You have enough food to last you maybe 6 months. Or something. Make sure that you stock up food. Make sure that you are prepared that, if they decide that they're going to lock you down and you can't go to the next neighborhood if you don't take an mRNA vaccine, you can stay in your house or you can stay in your neighborhood. I tell people right now, learn to farm, learn to create communities where we can farm and take care of because our food supply is getting contaminated right now. Make sure that, you can do your own farming, and start, grow your own chicken. Like we have chicken, we have cows, we have fish in the lake and stuff like that. Make sure that you hook up with communities and learn and start learning how to get back to nature and take care of yourself. Try to get like some kind of solar system that can probably run your refrigerator if something goes crazy and the grid goes down. Satellite phones. So I tell people, be prepared to survive if they get crazier. It is better to get an umbrella before it rains. And of course, and when I say this, it's not to scare people, it's to get you at a place where you are prepared. And of course, make sure that you have guns and ammo in case they come and steal your stuff that you prepare. Thank God that we live in Texas. But so that is actually be prepared medically, physically, spiritually, stock up food. We on our website, drstellamd.com, we help you with preparing medically. We help you to prepare spiritually. We direct you to places where you can get food that you can stock up for a long time. I tell people, don't throw away your food. Make sure you smell it. If it smells bad or tastes bad, then or looks bad, throw it away. Because most of the expiration date we have on our foods, on our medicines, is very arbitrary. They put it there so I can throw it and buy new ones. Mm. If you have tablets, for people that bought hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in 2021, 2022, and maybe they expired in 2023, as long as it's the tablets and everything, they are still good for years. They did a study in the military and found out that medications that were expired were still good for years. Even after years, they might drop in efficacy 80%, but they are still good. So don't throw away your medicines. I always tell people ivermectin, the compounding one that is done by pharmacies, those ones expire in about maybe 6 months. But the ivermectin tablets that have been, that have actually been done by pharmaceutical companies, those ones can last for a long time. We cannot just throw away all medicine because of like big pharma, throw away everything. No, we can't do that because medicine still help, but we just have to make sure that what we're taking or what we're doing, we have informed choice. You know what I'm saying? And then we have to fight this on an information basis. Follow me on Twitter, on X, Stella_Immanuel, because I put out a lot of information. Jeremiah, everybody that is with us, follow the freedom fighters, and share the information that we share because it is giving information. An informed population can fight back. And I'm thankful that a lot of people have woken up. A lot of people are not just going to lie down and let them do whatever they want to do. I am thankful that this is a season where people are not just waking up spiritually, but people are waking up physically, and people are waking up in all ways. And we are giving these globalists a fight for their life. So keep fighting, keep standing. Don't be scared. Be prepared.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for all those inspiring words, Dr. Stella Immanuel. I just followed you on X, which I should have been already, but I don't see the underscore. Is there more? Do you have more than one page?
I don't know who you followed. I have a lot of people that say they are doctors. I have like 297,000.
Oh, okay. I was already following you. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So they had another fake page. I'm going to send that to you to see if that's.
Yes. Don't worry. There are a whole bunch of fake pages that there are so many fake profiles of.
Oops! I tagged the wrong person in promo for this show, but
Once you become popular, you get a lot of fake people following you, or fake pages. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We have a couple calls on the line. I would love for our callers to chime in here. We only have a few minutes. I'm going to send you an email later, Dr. Stella, but if you haven't already, please join our Stop the Shots community on X. And I would love to feature you in a Twitter space if you ever have time. There's been nightly Twitter spaces on the Stop the Shots page, and there's some really great folks that are coalescing around that. But we have calls on the line. I would love to hear from, I hope you're still there, Neil from Connecticut. Are you there, Neil?
Yes, still here. Thank you. So greetings and salutations to you and the doctor. I have so many doctors. Doctor, you're so inspiring that I have 1,000 thoughts that all want to get out at once.
Try to be somewhat concise because I want to get to one more caller, but go ahead.
I'm going to keep it as short as I can. Doctor, I want you to confirm any correlation between 5G radiation and a syndrome known as hypoxia, which is high-altitude sickness, which is an upper respiratory condition, that when you turn the amplitude high enough on the 5G, this links to the outbreak in Wuhan, which was the first smart city in the world. I believe they threw the switch and the old folks started dropping first, like flies. So I'm thinking that during the lockdown, when all the energy company trucks were busy erecting building the 5G towers, you have to drive by them on the highway, so you get a dose every time you drive by. So a gentleman named Brian Rose, I think, had a show called London Real. And right out, I think very early in 2020, he had a guest on a series. I think it was 3 different shows. But he was interviewing a British man named David Icke. And on the 3rd show, as soon as they broached the topic of the connection between 5G and COVID-19, I don't know if it was still being called Corona by then. They hadn't developed the acronym Certificate of Vaccination Identification 2019 yet. But they shut down that show, that 3rd show, where they started focusing on that connection, was taken off in less than 24 hours.
So, we want to get to another caller. Do you have a fairly quick reply to that, Dr. Stella? There's a lot of concern about this 5G stuff and how the timing of that and if that's factoring into the health problems people are experiencing.
Yes, I did. I can believe what they are saying because I heard about that too. And then, of course, the way, remember earlier I said that the symptoms you get from COVID almost looks like serum sickness you get from radiation exposure. And so it is possible, and we can say they've not really isolated this virus, that scientists can say this is it. But we know for certain that something was happening, so that was causing a sickness that it looks like serum sickness. But we also know that it was treatable with hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin that had viral symptoms. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, I do believe that 5G had a hand in it. And 5G towers, they even had a show about, them putting, there was COVID something in the 5G towers. So that's possible. Yeah.
Another thing to point out is that on YouTube and these other major platforms where they were engaging in flagrant censorship, 5G was something you could not mention. Don't say anything to criticize Don't say coronavirus. Don't say vaccine. Don't say 5G. You'll be deplatformed. We have Noel from Brooklyn. How are you, brother? We only have about a minute for your comment.
Yes, and I'm going to make it in 30 seconds. Doctor, is it true that in Novocaine that they give to patients working in dentistry, are they sneaking in the COVID vaccine in that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know about that, but I don't know about sneaking the COVID vaccine in many things. There's been a lot of stories about many things, but I don't know about that. I have a goddaughter that's a dentist, and I know that she's not told me that. So I don't know. I can't, but like I said, question everything. I don't know.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I heard there was a concern, not necessarily about the COVID vaccines, but mRNA being somehow included.
mRNA being sneaking.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, even with cancer, they want to do mRNA right now for cancer. They want to sneak mRNA in everything, in our food supply and everything. So yeah. Yeah,
we need to all rattle the cage and say we don't want any more of this mRNA garbage. Don't put it in our lettuce. Don't put it in our dog food. Don't put it anywhere. We don't want this garbage imposed upon us. We're actually out of time. Unfortunately, we're at the very end of the program. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Stella Immanuel. You are truly a treasure to the medical freedom movement. And I hope to host or co-host a Twitter space where we can feature your comments to the growing Stop the Shots community there on X. If you haven't joined that community, everyone, please join Stop the Shots. We are meeting on a nightly basis, on a daily basis. There's a lot of great people contributing to that conversation. This is very important, as I'm sure if you're listening right now, you understand that. Please go to drstellamd.com. You have a promo code Hosea, JHOSEA, for a discount for anything on that website, which is a valuable website for us to all be aware of. Please spread the word about that. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Immanuel. Please stay in touch and stay strong and stay on point with all that you're doing, and I'm sure you will.
All right. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you. Peace and love to everyone. Thank you.
Open arms towards the sun. You feel the warmth of the rays, and then you know you're alive and